Të dashur teleshikues të televizionit të Shqiptarëve të Amerikës, në emisionin tonë Argument, sot kemi ftuar një kandidat tjetër shqiptaro-amerikan i cili po kandidon në New York në emër të Partisë Republikane në distriktin e 14 që përfshin zonat e Bronxit dhe Queensit. Në fakt kjo zonë është një zonë përgjithsisht demokrate, pasi kandidatja e demokratëve progresist e mirënjohura Aleksandra Ocasio-Cortez është deputete e kësaj zone. Por kemi një shqiptaro-amerikan, një biznesmen të njohur, i cili ka ardhur nga Kosova në moshë mjaft të njohur dhe është rritur dhe ka ndërtuar biznesin e tij këtu në Shtetet e Bashkuara, i cili ka menduar dhe mendon që ka ardhur koha që ai të futet në politikë, por në një betejë mjaft të ashpër, në një zonë që, siç po shohim në New York, edhe me kandidatin demokrat për kryetar të bashkisë, po anon mjaft majtas. Kam pra këtu para jush zotin Diamant Hysenaj, i cili kandidon për zonën e 14, distriktin e 14. Diamant, mirë se erdhët.
Përshëndetje, faleminderit.
Unë bëra një rezume të shkurtër tuaj, ju keni një biznes tuaj të ndërtuar me forcën e vullnetit dhe me forcën e punës suaj në gjithë këta vite, një biznes i suksesshëm, por pyetja ime e parë është e tillë. Çfarë të shtyn ty që të futesh në politikë nga biznesi?
Është pyetje mirë, shpesh e veti veten që të pyetje. Është kona koha. Vetë kom punu në këtë drejtimin e drejtimtarisë me palata, ndërtesa, restorante, në konti e përcjell politikën edhe në New York. Gjithkohë, pavarësisht New York është sa demokrat. Jam rrit shpejt demokrate me këtë politikë, jam mësu qyshëri. Po është koha për ndrim, se nuk është më partia demokratëve sikur se ka ekzistuar përpara. U ndru, është bon kaq të parti. Unë kom pa sikur në biznesin tim kom qenë për një problem, atë që është mi rregulluar, që është mi zgjedhat problem. Në këtë aspekt, s'ka kandidata se kanë vullnet me hisë republikan në zonë demokratë dhe ku hupin të më herët. Unë kom pa që aty e kom pa shansën se është koha për me himi për huqë ata.
Okay. Now, in order that this interview can be seen not only from Albanian Americans, but to be seen also from the Americans who also will vote for you, which support the Republican Party in the 14th district. Which is the specific that you think that you have better than the other competition? Do you have in the primaries? Do you have other Republican candidates in the same district or no?
Yes. As of right now, there's 4 Republican candidates that have filed with the Federal Elections Committee, with the FEC. I'm one of them. There's one that's ran in 2 cycles but came up short both times by a big number. And the other 2, I'm not really sure much about them. They seem just like they're putting their name for whatever reason, but we don't really see our challenge is going to be the general election, which is going to be November of next year. The primary
that's a big fight, I will say. But
yeah, that's right.
You think that you have the support not only of the Albanians in the area, because Bronx, I know there are a lot of Hispanics and other populations. So have you worked with other communities in order to ensure their support in order to be elected?
Yeah, absolutely. So District 14, which is parts of the Bronx and parts of the Queens, it has about 720,000 constituents, residents in the area. 50% of them are immigrants, like myself. And about 52% of those people are of Hispanic background, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, and so on. Dominicans and Puerto Ricans being the majority of the Hispanics that are in the neighborhood. Of course, we have a big block of Albanians. You have the Bengalis. You have an Asian community. So it's a mosaic of cultures, which makes me perfect for the role, and it gives me an advantage not only on the candidates that are going to be in the primary, but the actual incumbent of who's holding office. Like 50% of the district, I'm an immigrant, so I have that in common with them. I came here at the age of 9 years old. Came from a small farm in Kosovo, and I came to the big city of New York in the concrete jungle. And I had a lot of trials and tribulations that none of the candidates, not just in New York 14, but almost throughout the country, don't really have. And the sense of patriotism towards America, and also remembering where I come from and my roots. And it gives me an advantage because when I go speak to the Italians, the Albanians, the Irish, which are some of the dominant forces that have been around and are in business there, and I speak to the leaders of the Dominican community and Puerto Rican, and I'm not just dealing with the Republicans. I'm a middle of the ground kind of guy. So I have a lot of Democrats in my camp. I have a lot of Democrats supporting me, and I'm speaking to all the communities throughout the district. And we have a big advantage on the Republican side, and we're going to put up a big fight versus Democrats on the actual general election because they haven't seen something like me before. I'm not a politician.
So, yeah, I see you are not a politician per se. You're coming from business. You're coming like President Trump from another field and jumping in the politics. And it is very good that Albanians now, they think to be involved in the American politics because they are also the part of the American politics, but why you can vote and support another, that's not bad that to support another one that has the same views, but it's better to have Albanian representative in Congress. We have a guy here in Michigan, Robert Lulgjuraj. He also is not coming from politics. And I was in one of his events, and he was talking to the kickoff event there, and I asked an American lady. She was a politician. She was trying to be elected in my district, and she said, "I never seen a Republican candidate like him, because he is not a politician." And that's important, especially in that conglomerate that you said, in Bronx and area, especially there are too many Hispanics. How is the attitude of the Latino community towards Republicans? Because I know they mostly before were voting Democrats, and now after the President Trump election, a part of them passed on the Republican side.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a good question because if you look at the voting history, on this past cycle in November, New York State has the biggest movement towards the Republican Party out of the whole union. So Hispanics in big numbers, because they're the majority in the Queens and the Bronx district that I'm in, they voted in big numbers in favor of President Trump, and then crossed the ticket and voted for Democrat Congress and other positions. So it was a very interesting dynamic. So you had people who voted for President Trump and then voted for Congresswoman AOC on the same ticket, and they couldn't be more spectrums apart. So it was very interesting to read.
Yeah, that is very interesting. But have you thought any debate with AOC if you are elected I would like a debate. She is not a good debater. She says a lot of nonsense.
Well, that's at this stage of the campaign, it's not in her radar. Providing that we feel very confident we're going to win the Republican primary, and it's not going to be close. It's going to be by a long shot. We really feel confident about that. We feel confident that we're going to turn the seat from blue to red and make history, but never mind the primary. So if the polling gets close pre-election, she has a lot of money in the bank that she can use to flood the waves. She controls all the council members except one. She has all the assembly in her pocket. She's got the soon-to-be potential mayor in her pocket. She's got Bernie Sanders, who comes to New York and advocates for the progressive agenda. So she's very strong nationally and is a figure. But if you look at her historical election data, she won her election in 2018 by 78 points. And her last cycle in 24, she won by 68. So she's raising money. She's raising money and her popularity is getting high. But in the district where she's a ghost and nobody sees her, she hasn't done anything for it, she's dropped a lot of points.
I know, and one of the reasons was that gaffe, from my point of view, she made with Amazon. Not accept.
It was more than a gaffe. It was just malpractice. It cost Queens 30,000 high-paying jobs. It would have trickled down to so many local people and businesses, and she's proud of doing that. So we lost 30,000 jobs in the swipe of a pen.
She's proud of doing that?
She's very proud. It's one of her achievements, if any. She's been in Congress for 6 years, and this is not a Diamant versus Alexandria. I don't know her personally.